Dun-dun-dun. Rule of Thunder, Hear My Cry, available now as a video series that is going to be continued. Hi guys, and welcome to a new episode on this channel. Today we'll be talking about this book called Rule of Thunder, Hear My Cry, Chapter 2. Now, if you remember from Chapter 1, it talks about the world outside the home, outside the Logan land, and yeah, like that. And then later in Chapter 2, which I'm going to talk about to you right now, it talks about inside the home. Like, let's say that this book is a home. And then Chapter 1 talks about the outside home. Well, Chapter 2 talks about the inside home, right here, in the middle, right here. Each page is like every footstep of a movement. Like that. But, however, in Chapter 2, we go inside the home and then we experience what everybody else in the home, while they were all home, comes in. And a new character comes in. And its name is Big Ma. Now, first of all, Big Ma says the first line of this chapter, which goes into the first line, which is, Cassie, you better watch yourself, girl. Big Ma cautioned, putting one rough, large hand against my back to make sure I didn't fall. And yeah, like that. Now, why she said that is because Cassie was on a pole, like this. First of all, let's say this is a pole and Cassie goes up. Well, Big Ma says, don't fall down because she's a little heavy. And I say that if I was Cassie during that time, I would be pretty annoyed because a lot of grandmas and mamas are too, well, you know, precautious that they annoy their kids. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that you guys also experienced that too. Yeah. And practically, Cassie was like, oh, I won't, Big Ma. And Big Ma was like, you better won't, and grumbled. And finally, when Big Ma and Mama found out that Cassie found Papa, Cassie just fell off the pole like lightning. And then ran to the place where Papa was. Stacy ran first, and then Cassie ran. Then Little Man and Christopher John slid down their poles and ran after them. They all got to the wire fence, and each opened the wire fence just big enough for them to get through. And then they ran to the Papa. And there was also a new character, Mr. L.T. Morrison. L.T. Morrison. Yeah. And then he was hired to become part of the cotton expedition. And just like that, everything became a whole shebang, and also pretty quicker. And the railroad had a lot of money in it, just a few dollars in cash, and yeah, just like that, it goes on. Now, first of all, Little Man got to Papa first because he was the lightest. And Papa swooped him up and swung him around. If I was like that, I actually got those got those from my dad once too. And yeah, I pretty enjoyed the breathing stuff. And I imagined the breathing of me. Now, each scene, each word is pretty lively here. And if you try to read this book, you might see that it's pretty cool and it's so lively, in fact, that you can imagine the scenes yourself, even without you watching a TV show about this book. Yeah, just like that. And yeah. First of all, this is exactly what happens here, and that's exactly what happens to now. And L.T. Morrison, that's for another story. Then it talks about losing a job for Mr. Morrison, and that the other men who fought him and were the cause of it were white, so they weren't fired. And it's the whole shebang. And later at the evening, when the boys and the girl, which is basically Cassie right here, were milking the cow, they were all talking about that burning. They all thought that this has something to be related to the burning of the berries. No, not the berries, not the strawberries or the blueberries, alright? the human berries. And these guys were pretty good. And then this finally reveals how the burning happened. First of all, it went like this. First, Barry had a little girlfriend who was driving up with him. Now, the original Barry right here, the younger Barry was driving the car, and then they ran out of gas, and then the girl was also there. They were waiting for the gas, and then some white men drove up, and they talked about that Barry to be killed. And then when the woman heard it, she told Barry that they had to go. Barry said, "Why don't we just stay here for a moment for the gas?" I was like, "No, we need to get out of here right now." The Barry said, all right then. And then they went out. But those men just watched calmly. The gas was almost ran out, but they made it to her house. She leapt off the car, and then the Barrys, the older brother and the younger brother, went straight to their home. But however, it took pretty a while to do everything, and the gas was running low. So they decided to stop at Uncle Barry's house. However, the men had finally caught up, and when the Uncle Barry tried to save those two kids, the white men burned all of them alive. Now, the guy who drove the car got burned and died just last night. However, the uncle and his older brother still survived. So yeah, like that. And the whole shebang, and everybody said that they should live. Now, what I mean is by this is like the lesson of this thing is like, don't get drunk. First of all, those white men were drunk, and yeah, I experienced drunkenness myself. Why are you looking at me like that? And second of all, second lesson is think of what's more important and listen to all your surroundings. Because if you don't listen to your surroundings, you might get into trouble. And as the Big Ma says in this book, of how that is, at the wrong time, at the wrong place. Like that. Now, I want you to find out what the meaning of that is for you yourselves, and write them in the comments below, or just put it in my email 20jur@naver.com. So yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Shanahan out.